And good afternoon, everyone. This is John and Shawn with Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. Once again, we're joined by Jeremy from NFL Chaos with Jeremy. Guys, good morning or good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, doing well. Jeremy, how are you?
I'm good. Just enjoying sunny San Diego.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was going to say it's a little different background there.
We're in a rented house, but luckily they have good Wi-Fi. So
Nice. Sweet. So we now that the offseason has officially begun, congratulations to the Rams for winning the Super Bowl. But we wanted to start and take a look at how our projections fared against actual player stats for the year. Actually, let's start with the rookies. Coming in the top, I only did the top 5 rookies for the season, based on where they finished the season. Justin Fields was number 5. Um, he missed a lot of time. Let's see. It looks like he missed 5 games. I don't know if that was all due to injury. I actually like Justin Fields in Chicago when he came back from the injury in week 14. Week 14 he had 24 fantasy points, and then week 15 he had 21. So I like Justin Fields. Your guys' thoughts on Fields in Chicago?
Yeah, I think he'll work out there just because they'll give him the time, and he's not going to probably lose his starting job anytime soon. Um, I think if they get him more receiving help that is healthy, other than Darnell Mooney, um, I know his wide receiver from Ohio State's in this upcoming draft, so maybe they can get him kind of like Burrow to Chase, have him getting in the upcoming draft, maybe draft a receiver that he is known to play with. But you think in the beginning of the year he was the backup, and then he went to being the starter, and then with some injuries to his rib cage and all that, he missed I think 3 other games as well. But overall, it showed a lot of promise in the time that he was there with his mobility and not. I mean, the only thing he has to work on is the turnover ratio.
Mm-hmm.
You can't constantly keep giving the ball away.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I look at it. I only had him projected to lose 2 fumbles. Where on the season he actually lost 5. So yeah, definitely got to get those fumbles down. Jeremy, any thoughts on Justin Fields? I know you liked him.
yeah, I still do. I think he was. I think he spent a lot of the year running for his life. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because people thought he was going into a good situation. I don't know why they were thinking that. The Bears' offensive line is awful. They haven't shown much as a unit offensively in years. So I don't think he was going into a good situation at all. And he what I liked about him is that he improved during games. Like there were games where he got off to really bad starts. There was a game against Pittsburgh. Obviously, Pittsburgh's defense is ferocious, and he had really struggled in the first half, and then in the second half started playing much better and showing a lot of accuracy, great passes, smart decision making, and I like that because it shows that. A lot of character that you don't fall apart and get worse as the game goes on when things aren't going well. You want a guy who can put things behind him and then rebound and come back. I think it's an important quality. I think he's just in a similar situation. It's the typical. Usually, when you go to a team that selects a quarterback in the first rounds, even trades up to get it, you're not going to be going into the best of situations. Now, what's good is for him is if the Bears can turn around and quickly start rebuilding their offensive line, get a couple of better receivers in there, the defense is already set up. So it's not like they're years away because they have one side of the ball taken care of for the most part. They just have to patch up the holes on offense and give him some weapons and give him some protection, and then we can see what he's really about.
Yeah, agreed. And I know they did trade. They don't have a first round pick this year. I believe they sent that to the Giants. So
Yeah.
So it'll be building the line there. Let's see here. I do have another page where I do have a weekly breakdown. I don't have the opponents on the list. It's hard to see. Like I said, if you guys want to download this, it's in the description, free of charge. But guys, anything else on Justin Fields before we go to number 4?
No, so let's jump over to number 4.
Number 4, I will let Jeremy start with this one. We have Zach Wilson was the 4th ranked rookie quarterback this year. Jeremy, before the season started in the last year's draft, I absolutely loved this pick. I believe he is the right man. And I saw that early in the season in that game against Tennessee. I saw everything I needed to see out of Zach Wilson and to let me know he was going to be our franchise quarterback. But your thoughts?
Yeah, he absolutely is going to be in my mind. Right away you could take that 55% completion percentage and make it 60 if his receivers catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of drops he had was completely unacceptable and ridiculous. Also, his inaccuracy, people forget, like a lot of the inaccuracy or the incomplete passes, he was the lead leading low in time behind the line of scrimmage after the snap for the first 8 to 10 games. I think for the first 6 games, he had an average of 1.7 seconds in the pocket. So it was ridiculously low. Coming into the West Coast system and having to learn that system with a team of young rookies around him and players that are learning that system, it was very ugly in the beginning. I think the key thing to look at is what he did the last 7 games of the season, when the offensive line started to gel and play better. Then you saw the development and the improvement from week to week in Zach Wilson. And I think that he definitely showed off some elite characteristics, like his escapability, and what he can do on the run, the types of throws he can make with his arm and his arm talent. I think the key for him is, and I think the thing to look out for that makes him dangerous is, I think they purposely were keeping him in the pocket because they understand, this coaching staff understands, and this offense understands that to be successful in this league long term and to reach your true potential, you can't rely on escaping the pocket, running, and that kind of off play football. You have to be able to be a strong pocket passer, and I think that was their strategy. This year was a year of teaching and getting him used to being a pocket passer and being able to do that successfully, and let all those other things, the off play and and escaping and making all those plays, make that be a complement to the most important skill of all of this, is being able to stay in the pocket, go through your progressions, and make plays.
Yeah, Shawn.
About talking about Zach Wilson, I mean, from you guys being more Jets fans, you guys got to watch him more. I just like you guys like touch on what you said about the receivers. They kind of need more help. The running backs helped them a lot this year, obviously, but being a rookie coming into the league and playing in a division that he plays in that has tough defenses, he didn't have a bad year. It's kind of got to grow on it now for his sophomore year and improve from there and just get better for the next year and then improve from there. I mean, Joe Burrow proved that he can bounce back from an injury. Zach Wilson had a few injuries this year as well. So just got to hope to pray that the team gets him the help he needs on offense, gets a few pieces to touch up the defense, and maybe turn the ball over a little bit more and get them more of a chance to score every week.
Yeah. No, thanks. Jeremy, I know we started with you on Zach Wilson, but anything else on Zach Wilson? Maybe what to look forward to in year 2?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Jets have more, they're number 3 in the league in salary cap. They're probably similar, like number 3 in the league draft capital wise, like maybe the Giants and the Eagles are the only 2 teams you can argue are in as good a situation, in the draft. So there's an opportunity to really give him the weapons we're talking about, whether it's via free agency or via the draft. The Jets have an opportunity to greatly improve the situation around Zach Wilson and at the same time add some key players to defense. So, which helps too, because you got to be able to get off the field. Mm-hmm. There were games where Zach was doing great. Against the Eagles is a great example. Threw 3 touchdowns in the first half, and then in the second half didn't even get to play in the third quarter, or maybe ran 3 plays in the third quarter. And that's because the defense couldn't get the Eagles offense off the field. That's an issue. So I think there's a lot of ways we can help him. I think the last 6 games, again, are the biggest. That's what he has to do. He has to start from the Zach Wilson, those last 6 games. He can't start the season and be back to week 1 again. Be
Right.
back to the
Yeah.
beginning of, right? He can't be throwing interceptions, and he has to be the guy that he was the last 6 games of the year. And if that's his starting point, and then he continues to progress, then we know we probably have our guy. If he comes in and he's playing like that guy that played the first 8 games of the season, or before he got hurt, then we have to worry. It's a big problem for the Jets.
Yeah, you want him to kind of improve and going from starting week 1, kind of get better as the weeks go on, not get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. So that brings us to our number 3 quarterback, rookie quarterback of the year, and the surprise rookie quarterback of the year to me, Davis Mills from the Houston Texans. Had him projected 38th overall, not many stats, but he actually finished 27th overall, not fantasy worthy, but definitely improved over the year. So, guys, thoughts on Davis Mills, and if Houston will be moving on with him next season?
I mean, before the season began, he kind of didn't even know who he was. So he kind of put his name out there on the radar, and he played for a really bad Houston Texans team. So honestly, I think he ended up pretty well. If Houston doesn't go with him as a starting quarterback, I think then he probably will find a home somewhere as a backup and probably improve and can one day possibly even be a starting quarterback in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, agreed. Jeremy, any thoughts on Davis Mills?
Yeah, he definitely showed that he, at the very least, would be a solid backup quarterback who can keep you in the game, and the ceiling might be higher. He might be a respectable starting quarterback. It's hard to know. It's kind of it's hard to know for a couple of reasons, because we have to see these guys react to, like, people didn't look at him and they didn't look at Houston seriously, right? They were a team people overlooked. That's why and no one thought much of them. A lot of his play and a lot of the plays were a lot of dinking and dunking, right? He wasn't putting in many situations where he had to air it out and bring them back in the fourth quarter, like the test of like the great quarterbacks, the quarterbacks that, when you're down 10 points in the fourth quarter and the running game is gone and you can't waste time dinking and dunking and you have to throw downfield. We have to see if he's that kind of quarterback. I do think he's good enough that Houston does that, and this is the luxury for Houston. I think he is good enough to explore another year and keep as your quarterback another year. And I think the reason for that is because it's such a poor year for quarterbacks in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that they have a high pick, but this is not the year to take a quarterback. And next year will be a much better stock of talent. So if this was last year, if we had last year's group, Houston should definitely take a quarterback, right? You grab whoever it's going to be, whatever fits your systems, whether it was Mac Jones or whether it was Zach Wilson if he was there, or whether it was Trey Lance or Justin Fields. But those guys aren't there this year. Mm-hmm. So you have a guy who played decent enough, and you have a veteran guy on the team also. I believe they still have his contract, that you could afford to go another year, focus now on other parts of the team, continue to build up the team, and then address quarterback next year when there's better prospects.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of like you said, he should be able to starter for year 2. There shouldn't be anyone behind. I mean, they might get someone that's a veteran behind him for cheap, but with the amount of money that the Texans have in cap space, they should be able to go out and try to build a team around him of youth and try to see what they can get. Obviously, they know Deshaun Watson's going to be out of there sooner or later, so kind of build your team around maybe him being your starter for the long term.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with Jeremy. Definitely give him another year. Because like you said, the draft class this year is not very good. So I expect him to at least be fighting, depending on what happens with the Deshaun Watson situation there in Houston. And then if my guess is, no matter what happens with that, they'll probably try to move on from Watson. But yeah, So let's move on to our number 2 rookie quarterback, and that was Trevor Lawrence from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I had him projected at 19th on the year, but he finished 24th in quarterbacks. I projected 316 points. He ended up with 229, but had a decent season. Needs to bring the turnovers down. But your guys' thoughts on Trevor Lawrence?
I think he has a lot of potential. It just comes from the fact of, you think about it, he lost his starting running back that he had in Clemson before the year began as a rookie. Then he lost James Robinson there at the end of the year with an injury. He lost DJ Chark early in the year as his go-to wide receiver that he had. Then he started getting back going with Marvin Jones, and Chenault. He didn't really have tight end to throw to, and the offensive line wasn't good. He was always getting the pressure, so he was doing rookie mistakes. The only thing I want to see out of him in year 2 is, like you said, turnover ratio is really bad. For 14 to 22, 14 touchdowns to 22 interceptions and fumbles. It's just, you can't have that in an 18-year year. You're averaging over 1 a game. So he's just got to improve on that. Maybe use his feet a little bit more. Once Urban Meyer kind of was gone, you saw Trevor Lawrence open up a little bit more each week as it went on, and he got better. So I'd like to see him try to use mobility a little bit like he did in Clemson, roll out of the pocket, throw it, not play the 5 to 10 yards down the field, kind of do what he was playing there and kind of open the offense up and get the offense moving around.
Yeah. Jeremy, thoughts on Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, when you consider Urban Meyer's fiasco, when you consider the team that was around him, the numbers aren't nearly as bad as one might think. You compare him to like Peyton Manning when he came in his first year and he had nobody around him. He was still a baller. He was still balling. He was still, and yeah, he too many turnovers, but he was probably pressing. I mean, he doesn't have, that's what happens when you don't have great players around you and you're being forced to try to carry the team on your shoulders yourself. I think he's going to have a very good career. I don't know that, I think that the thing that's working against him was this whole generational label. I mean, it's not easy to live up to stuff like that. And, and then you have to be a rookie in the league and everybody expecting, because of this label they put on you, you have to be amazing. I don't know that many quarterbacks could have came in there and had that much success in that situation. So if they get if this is the right coach, if they're going to go in the right direction now, if they're going to turn the ship around, if they're going to put a good, good team around him, he could be a very dangerous, very, top level quarterback in this league. There's no question about it. And if not, he might play really well. It might be like a Deshaun Watson in Houston thing. You might see that he's really good. He might start showing it more, but be stuck on this bad team. And then you're going to see him get the hell out of there as soon as his rookie contract's up. So I would say the pressure is on Jacksonville more than it is him. I think that they have to put the team around him to give him a reason to stay, in the next few years. So, because I think the talent didn't go away. The talent's there. Even with the problems, there was enough success for me to see that he could handle the speed and he can handle the NFL game. So I think he's going to be very successful.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Shawn.
agree. I just think that you learn from your first year, and I think in the second half, the first half of the year compared to the second half of the year, it was 2 different Trevor Lawrences. So I think he's just got to build on that second half and not go back to the first half. And kind of year 2, you have more. You also got to think when he got drafted, the COVID protocols and all of that were in place still. So he didn't have the time to learn the offense as fast as he could have. So he learned as kind of like on the fly. He learned as the year went on. So I think now that he's got a coach that's going to be able to believe in him a lot more, kind of like they did it with Carson Wentz in Philly, I think that'll help him as well.
That takes us to our number 1 rookie quarterback of the year. And, of course, that was Mac Jones of the New England Patriots. We had him projected 24th overall. He actually finished 18th overall, so exceeded our expectations. Guys, thoughts on Mac Jones? Jeremy was saying early on, before we started diving into these, he almost went to the perfect situation.
Yeah, I like Mac Jones. He's perfect, and he's perfect for New England and what kind of offense they have and what kind of offense they build. He kept the turnovers down for most of the year. He had that one bad game where Indianapolis, where he had a lot of turnovers. And then towards the end of the year, he was throwing the ball a lot more, and they kind of went away from the run when Damian Harris was getting banged up. And that kind of, you could see the effect on it had Mac Jones, and kind of made him more confused with the offense. But I think it's perfect to what he has going there in New England. I think they have the perfect offense built for him with the running back core, the young wide receivers. They got 2 tight ends signed with Hunter Henry and Janu Smith for a few years. So that'll help him kind of adapt more. He's not going to come in this year and he's going to have big changes. It's probably going to almost be the same team as he had this year and next year. So that'll help him a lot overall. I think that he's only going to get better as the years go on. Not saying he's going to go jump to a Super Bowl this year, but he might be able to make a run in the playoffs a little bit deeper this year and then kind of move forward for year 3, year 4, and kind of keep growing as a player as well as growing with the team and adapting and building with what they have.
Yeah, agreed. Jeremy, your thoughts? Unfortunately, we get to play Mac Jones twice every year. And yeah, he is in the perfect situation. But yeah, your thoughts on Mac Jones?
Yeah, I mean, we could sit and talk all day. Like, definitely, everybody agrees that he went into the best situation of any of the rookie quarterbacks, and it's great coaching, great players around him, a system that was designed for him to be successful. All of that, but we also can't overlook that he did it. That he was able to go into that perfect system that was for him, and he was able to execute, and he was able to succeed, and he did everything that was asked for him. He made his share of expected rookie mistakes. But when you look at his career in Alabama and then you look at him at New England, they people continue to put up walls that, it's not him, it's this, it's that. In Alabama, it was the system. In New England, it was the system. It was the players around him. But the guy keeps delivering. He delivers, he delivers, he delivers. The question with him is, and I said it before, the real test for quarterbacks is, and he did not look as impressive in this situation, but he was a rookie, so it's okay. But the thing that's really going to determine how good he can be and if he can hit the higher echelon of quarterbacks is what happens when you can't follow that game plan, when the dinking, the dunking, the running, when that's off the table, when you're down in the fourth quarter and now you're the guy and you have to run that quick huddle offense and you have to air the ball out. Is he going to be the guy? Is he going to be able to do that consistently? Because how many games do we see come down, even in this playoff run, almost every game? It came down to, can you do it with time pressure and having to make big plays? And not just, the clean, easier, just stick to the game plan, hand off a lot, dink and dunk, and then make a big play once in a while. So that, to me, that's the real test for all these quarterbacks. Are they going to be able to pass that test as they have more situations in their careers? I don't expect them to be able to do it their rookie year right off the bat consistently, but you have to do, in this league, if you want to win championships, if you want the quarterback that can take you there, 90% of the time, you're going to have to in that run to the Super Bowl or in that run to the playoffs, you're going to have to come up like that. You're going to have to be in that situation where it has to be you as the quarterback. And we're going to find out if he can, achieve that final tier and be one of those kind of guys.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Guys, any final thoughts on the top 5 rookie quarterbacks from this past season?
No, it was kind of the 5 quarterbacks we expected to see when the draft happened.
Yeah, well, not Mills. We probably thought more Lance.
Yeah.
We weren't sure what was going to happen with Jimmy G out there in San Francisco at first, but they kept him for the season. But I know they're looking to move on from him.